Hi, I'm Tom.
I'm Matty.
And I'm Lewis.
This is the Wigan Way, Wigan's favourite rugby league podcast.
He'll put you in his trap, 'cause he's a union man. He's got it all figured out. He won't care what you think, 'cause he's a northern man. He's allowed to speak his mind. His mind.
The Wigan Way podcast is brought to you by Cherry and White Pins, a local Wigan Warriors themed pin badge company with a variety of Wigan ranges. You can get free shipping on all orders when you use the code THEWIGANWAY, that's The Wigan Way, all in capitals, at checkout. Thanks to them for supporting the show.
So we are back this week on the Wigan Way, and for all you Wigan fans, bit of a double bubble really. We didn't review the league game, we didn't have time unfortunately. Obviously, life can be a little bit busy, everyone knows that. So
3 games in 10 days if you want to.
yeah. So with that, we're gonna double up on the Wigan games. Just me and you today, Lewis.
Matty's away on his holidays, isn't he?
Yeah, can't blame him. Good time to be away, innit?
Well, yeah.
So how you doing, mate? How you feeling?
Good. All good in myself. Bit frustrated with our, we'll review the league game as well. Bit frustrated with our most recent results and our recent inconsistent form, which I'm sure we'll get into in this first segment, reviewing the Wigan games.
Yeah.
But other than that, all good, enjoying the summer holidays. How are you, mate?
Not too bad. Similar thing. It's that inconsistency.
Yeah, it's frustration, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think we saw it on the pitch this week against Leeds. We'll do Leigh first, but I think that's what we saw. I think we saw 13 men who, especially towards the 60th minute, probably more biggest example is Harry Smith, who again we'll get on to in 20 minutes or so, but I think we saw 17 frustrated men and a very frustrated coach as well.
And it happens. You can't be perfect all the time.
It's not. And again, we'll review this, we'll get into it. 3 games in 10 days. We'll talk about the impact it has and where it leaves us for the rest of this season.
Shall we start on the league game then?
Go on, yeah, let's start with the positive. Let's start with the win.
So obviously we played Tuesday, a week ago now if you're thinking, and you're listening at the time. It was Tuesday the 6th, I think it was. And we were backing up from playing a Thursday.
Yes.
Always difficult. Obviously, this game had been rearranged because of our participation in the World Club Challenge at the start of the year.
Yes.
And I'm still going to say it. I think it's just so wrong that you don't have a dedicated week in the calendar for this, and that you have to just manage to shove it in somewhere. I don't like that. Mm-hmm. But that is the case, and we've had to deal with it.
They were probably waiting for maybe.
Not to make it to the Challenge Cup final.
Yes, if there was a Challenge Cup game where both Leigh and Wigan went there and say, right, it's Challenge Cup week next week, whilst you, instead of having the week off, you're going to play that game. But obviously, we know what happened there. Yeah, you shouldn't be relying on the two teams not get, or a team who won the World Club Challenge or competing in the World Club Challenge not getting to the Challenge Cup final. But yeah, it should be better organised, should we say.
Yeah. So, obviously, a lot of pressure on this. The league had we've been brought back into the pack the last 3 or 4 weeks, let's say. We'd sort of got a head start and we were ahead. We had a 2-point buffer with a game in hand, all that different stuff. And then with our bad run of form, or inconsistent form, or whatever you want to call it, we'd dropped back into being just behind Hull KR with a game in hand still, and this game in hand would put us back in contention. If we do win this game, puts us joint top of the league leaders. Joint top of the league table, sorry. Obviously, I can't say league leaders yet.
Yeah.
And to lose 4 games at this point in the season, I know we'll obviously go on to lose to Leeds and make it 5. But at the start of the season, and I keep trying to bring people back down to earth, but you'd have snatched someone's hand off at that. If I had said to you, Lewis, before we went into that Castleford game, at Castleford, first game of the season, come round 20, you are going to have played in a World Cup Challenge and won the Challenge Cup, and be joint level on points with Hull KR, who are top of the table, having only lost 4 games, away at Saints, away at Hull KR, Warrington and Hull FC. I don't think there's any Wigan fan that realistically would have said that's not good enough.
No. I think the Hull FC one of the ones that hurts. And I think I don't even think it's... Obviously, it was disappointing because we know we should have beat Hull. Everybody knows that. And we did not perform well on that day, even though we nearly stole it towards the end. But that would have been one of the biggest steals I've ever seen because we did not deserve to win that game. But I think it's the timing of when it came because of this 3 games in 10 days, and Hull was played the game before that started.
It was played the game before Warrington.
The game before Wire. So what that did was put pressure on where this game we're reviewing now about Leigh became a must-win almost because you slipped up at Hull. So the idea is, I think it was the more timing of the defeat. If we beat Hull, then we end up losing. The Tuesday night is a bogey game, a banana skin, whatever you want to call it. We can say that it's all right though because we've done the job, we've beat the team, but because we lost Hull, it's like, right, there's pressure on Tuesday game to win up, so we're going to do it from the top of the league, and that's why I think it caused panic. I think it was the timing it came in the context of all the games we had around it. That was no more why people were panicking. But I do know what you mean. 4 losses at the start, joint top of the table, people that took, and a Challenge Cup and a World Club Challenge.
A Challenge Cup and a World Club Challenge. And still be one of the favourite teams in the competition for the grand final.
Yes.
And playing this period without Field, who has now just come back, without French.
Yeah.
I think it feels like there's an expectation to win all 4 trophies.
Yeah.
And I don't mind it in terms of you should want to win every tournament you're in. If we were playing a 7-a-side tournament out on the park, I'd want us to win it.
Yeah.
But there has to be an understanding of the position that we're in.
Yeah.
And a position of...
I understand the context around the thing.
Yeah, and context applies to everything. We lost away at Hull FC last year.
We did. We said it was
lost
a
away
bit
at
of a...
Wakey last year. It's not uncommon for teams to slip up. Saints lost at home to Castleford this year. Warrington have slipped up against teams. Hull KR have slipped up against teams. So to expect us to be perfect through an entire season is unfair. It's an unrealistic expectation.
Yeah. Well, let's get into Leeds, because we'll end up talking about this when we end up doing Leeds, won't we?
So the game finishes 28 points to 6. Half time 22-0. Now, I know you're not on Twitter, Lewis.
No, I'm not.
But Matty put a tweet out from our account, and it just said that he felt that this was the perfect end of the game. The fact that we didn't try and put on a ridiculous amount of points, we didn't try and score off every play, and we managed the second half out in terms of it was 6 apiece in the second half, get the win. Not really go out of second, third gear in the second half.
Yeah.
And he said he felt it was a very well managed job.
Yeah.
And I agree with that exactly. I think I'm not worried about points difference.
No.
Because we just need to win. And getting 2 points in a game like this was the most important thing.
Yeah.
And I would have hated to see us push and push for more points and push to then pick up an injury, overplaying, overdoing something and burning someone out. And we were able to manage our big forwards. Hill did a big spell for us. Thompson did a relatively shorter spell for his levels.
Yeah.
Kate Ellis did as well. And
they needed to, didn't they? Because they didn't really, besides Field, who didn't play in this game, Eckersley
was full-back.
Back at full-back for him instead, which I think is the right decision. But he didn't change much else, the team, really. I think people were expecting a couple of changes with it being a weird Tuesday game. And he didn't, except Field.
Do you think it's a difficult situation for Pete in that? If you rest players... So let's say you made 5 or 6 changes. You then end up with a situation you lose, and it falls onto why have you changed the winning team? Why have you done this? Why have you done that?
Yes, because we lost at Hull. if we beat Hull and then we try and rest players and lose, people might go, but it's all right because we're still trying top of it. But this became a must-win. I don't want to say must-win, but you know what I mean. There was more pressure on this game to win it. So we went, I've got to go with my strongest team. I can't afford to rest players. I've got to win this game. We need 2 points.
But I will throw it to you this way: if we'd have won that game at Hull and come into our game in hand,
yeah,
knowing that if we win, we would be 2 points clear.
Yeah.
The conversation before the game would be win at Leigh, and then you can rest coming towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
And you can rest players at certain points and prep for the playoffs. So either way, I think he's got a situation about does he play his best team or not. And again, just to throw out there, we got rid of the Easter weekend because of how difficult 3 games in 10 days is.
Yeah.
It's not something that teams want to do.
No.
Leigh didn't rest many players. In fact, I don't think they rested anyone.
No.
I think the only thing they had was a couple of suspensions and injuries in the place of the prop forward. I forgot Tom Amon.
Yes.
He was suspended. So it's not something that a coach is used to doing or has to do regularly. And it's difficult. I think Matty Pete is taking it a game at a time.
Yeah.
Win the next game at hand. And for me, that's all you can do at this point in the season. The situation that you're in. And if we get to the end of the season, coming up towards the playoffs, and our position is sealed, then you can think about resting players.
Yeah. The thing, I was going to do this in the Leeds bit, but we've kind of gone to it now, so we may as well just discuss this before we get into reviewing the 2 games and the tries and everything. The worry I've got, and I am going to use the word worry, is I get it's 3 games in 10, and that is intense. And you're right to think of the Easter period, because actually when you watch those 3 games, people actually say actually the quality of rugby goes down on the 3rd game. You are going to see crappy games because you can't compete at 100% level when you're knackered, which I get.
You only have to look at football, who do this quite regular, and they complain about having a kick-off 3 hours earlier because of it. And it's impossible to have high-performance athletes perform at this level.
The worry I've got, right, I'm going to make a comparison to Warrington. Warrington went through, was it after the Challenge Cup final? A very similar thing to what we're going through now, where they had a couple of defeats, and the international break where England played France come at the perfect time for them. Because they got a bit of a reset, they didn't have any game, and used it as a bit of a reset, and then went again and managed to change it around. The worry for me is we don't have that. We've played 3 games in 10 days, but next week it's Magic and we've got Saints, and then the next week we've got a game. We're not getting that.
We're not going to get that
thing that Warrington got, which helped them out. Ours isn't coming. Ours is you're playing every week now up until the grand final. So we've got to find a way without a scheduled break to have that reset. Do you know what I mean? And that's the bit that's.
And I think he'll be doing that. I think that'll be planned. I think they know that they need a rest.
Yeah.
They know that they need it. I've also got a bit of a point to make. How do you decide which players need resting in games like this?
Yeah.
Because the players that I thought they've done really big minutes in tough positions, they might need a rest. We've either not got the depth because of injuries to do it, and potentially we've not got. They'd not looked like they needed a rest in them games.
Yeah.
So it's a very difficult thing to manage.
It is tough.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's going to be tougher because what about resting players? Whether that's the right thing to do, whether we will have a fixture where we do see a bit of a altered squad because he's resting people, I don't know. But yeah, the point I'm making is we've got no scheduled rest coming up. Like I said, I thought that international break come at the perfect time for Warrington because they were just about to enter a dip and they had a week off where they could say, right, let's get everyone together in-house.
They'd lost the Challenge Cup and then lost to Salford.
Lost to Salford, and there was a bit of a blip going on, and I just say, right, I've got a week off now, let's use this to just kind of go back to the drawing board. And we're not going to have that. So we need to find a way to turn it around and start winning without that.
Let's just, obviously, before we go into that league game, I still think this league is in our hands.
Oh, we're not out of it. Yeah, we're not out
We're
of it.
joint top. If we win all our games, we finish top. And that's because we play Hull KR. We play Hull KR at the break. It's in our hands. I think that's fundamental to remember, that it is in our control.
Yeah.
And not panicking, no need to panic yet.
Yeah.
So, let's just jump into the league game. Obviously, it's 28 points to 6. Tries for Junior in December, Harry Hill, Patrick Mago, Adam Kieran, Jake Wardle, and Kieran kicked 4 from 5. Lachlan Lamb obviously scored for Leigh. A couple of things to mention. Obviously, Junior in December played on the left-hand side. Farrell switched. It's been a switch that's happened in the last 2 or 3 games. I wonder why this is. Whether they want Farrell December working with Harry Smith more. I think there's potential that Farrell has gone to the right-hand side to help out defensively. It was highlighted before the Leeds game that the right-hand side had been weaker defensively, and we conceded the majority of our tries through a right-hand side. But we see it, comes left, and this is sort of what's caught Junior's name and got Junior the plaudits that he's got so far this year.
Yeah.
That he's so big and strong and hard to handle.
Athletic.
And this play comes from actually a missed pass. The ball came left to Cade Ellis, who was trying to find Harry Smith, and the ball goes out in front of him, hits the ground, and December just picks it up and plays, just runs inside. Almost trying to find a post.
Yeah.
Let's get reset and let's go again. And he does so well to brush off Kai O'Donnell, then get inside of Matt Moylan full back and score.
Shows some good feet. Puts some step on for Moylan.
And shows some really good movement. Jake Wardle scores down the left-hand side.
Yeah.
Again, I want to mention December. We obviously called a knock-on through Harry Smith. Harry Smith in the tackle creates that knock-on. December plays, and that's the confidence that the team does have, that they have the ability to play.
Yes.
Most people have said it's a knock-on. Big
This
second
is the
row.
try. Sorry, we was watching it before, and it's the Eckersley one. I wanted to mention Eckersley. Yeah, he does a good job here.
But I do want to praise December that most people say it's a knock-on. We'll take a
settle. Yeah.
Not even take a settle. It might not dive on it.
Yeah.
Just go. It's definitely a knock-on. The ref's getting ready to blow. We'll just take a scrum.
Yeah.
But he gets his hands on it, starts to run, and then I know you wanted to praise him, Zach Eckersley. I'll let you take that away. But it's just a brilliant play.
You hate it, Dukes, if it's eyes up rugby, I'm afraid. It's a pound in the jar. But yeah, not taking the knock on, getting the ball in hand, looking up and saying, right, what's happening? And I did want to praise Eckersley because it's good full-back play. If you watch him from on the blind side, the left-hand side, even the players on the left-hand side, he comes barreling on, screaming for December for this ball, because he realises if he gets on it, he's got like is it a 4-on-2 or a 4-on-3 or something like that?
It's a 4
He's got an overlap, essentially.
It's a 4-on-2 with this when December has
when December has the
hands.
ball, 3 next to 3-on-2 essentially when Eckersley gets it. But yeah.
But he also highlights the Pape is out there defending.
Yes.
Who's not a natural wide player. He's not a centre or a winger.
He's in the middle of the park, isn't he? He's a man.
And again, we talk about it, giving early ball. He doesn't take too long with it. Gets the ball to Wardle, who is a classy centre, but let's not deny it. Probably up there in the best centres in the league conversation. Gets the ball to Marshall, and Marshall gets it back to him. Wardle slides over the line, basically, jogs the next 30 metres and scores under the sticks. Brilliant play.
Nice for because they're young lads, at full back, and not just actually showing a bit of confidence. Demanded the ball, give it to me, I can make something happen here. And it's nice to see.
2 more tries. I want to just mention these two specifically. There was 6 minutes left before half time. And Wiggins probably scored 2 of the easiest tries you will see if you watch rugby league. Scrum play, goes to the right hand side.
Really bad this from Leigh.
They drop out
Going to take anything away from Wigan, but this is, if you're a Leigh fan, you're disappointed with this.
I actually think Wigan noticed that they'd not executed it. I just thought we'll put him on a drop off.
Yeah.
To just deal with it. And instead, Kieran walks through possibly the easiest gap he'll ever walk through, skips past Matt Moylan.
And he's gone back into where the scrum was taking place.
Some big men in there.
I don't get how there can be that big of a gap when you've just packed 6 men in a scrum.
But where did they all go?
Yeah, where have they all gone to create that gap? There were 6 blokes there before. They've dropped him off back into the scrum where the scrum's taken place, and he's somehow found a way through. You've just had 6 blokes around there. Where have they gone?
Too easy. And then Mago, obviously it's 18-0 at this point. 16-0 at this point, sorry, because obviously Kieran had missed the conversion for one of the tries. And you're thinking, if you're a Leigh player, Leigh manager, you're thinking, just defend this set. Defend this set, get in at 16-0. And Cruz Lehman steps out from 9 and just passes the ball to Mago, who walks in without a hand laid on him, slides over the line. You can't concede near the post.
No. Not a simple 9 passing it to a prop for a draft.
If you're gonna concede a try like that, make it the winger diving in at the corner. Deal with the issue immediately. Get beat in the corner. And that's what I think was the real disappointing part of that for me. Harvey Hill scores in the second half. A good kick from Cruz Lehman. Not something we've really seen him do so far. I know he's been a bit hit and miss in his availability for Wigan so far due to injuries. But a nice little dribble kick in behind Harvey Hill doing the hard yards to get there. And it sort of just killed the game because Leigh got a little bit of momentum there. Just killed the game.
Yeah.
Took that to 28 points to 6 and it's game over, 2 points on the board.
I like Matty said, a nice professional second half, just seeing the game out really.
Now we're going to have to talk about a bit more of a difficult result.
Yeah.
Leeds.
Yes.
Now, there's a lot to say in terms of, you can mention all the scheduling and whatever, that we hadn't played Leeds yet and we're into round 21, of Super League, and you've not played a team. That's not good enough.
Well, yeah. And let's, because we're going to focus on Wigan, obviously, but let's give Leeds some credit before we do. I thought the defence was much better. I thought they did defend.
They looked a bit to me like a Brad Arthur side.
Yeah, they defended the line a lot more urgency in the defence, a lot more desperation. People turning up and making tackles where they probably wouldn't have made before. So before we go on to talk about Wigan, let's give some credit to Leeds. They did play a good game, especially the defence. They defended well. They executed when they needed to, and
they looked to play simple.
Yeah, they did.
I didn't think anything felt forced.
No.
Were obviously under Rowan Smith. There were times that the game has looked forced. They've looked like they're doing things they don't necessarily want to.
I don't think they had an identity under Rowan Smith. I don't think they knew where they wanted to play. They weren't a team that beat you, like a Saints or Wigan that pin you in 5 from 5 and bash with the defence and are relentless. They weren't that kind of team. They did play a little bit off the cuff. Brodie Croft doing little chip kicks in his own 20 to Ash Hanley, crossfielders or whatever, There was that kind of, but I wouldn't put him into like a Tony Smith's Hulk Kaya identity. Or
Warrington.
Yeah, or something, an offload game. It was just very, you didn't even know what you were going to get from him, really, on Rowan Smith. But this one, I think you're right, looked like a bad earth side. Defend hard, and your points took off the back of good defence.
Yeah. And they just looked like a side. They looked like they were working together. So all credit goes to the coaching staff there for me in the improvements that have been witnessed in Leeds. Let's get on to Wigan.
Yeah.
We can all agree they looked tired. They
Yes,
looked fatigued. They looked like they were playing the third game in 10 days.
Yes, they did.
But some of the events in this game weren't good enough.
No.
Whether you're tired or not, some of the fundamentals weren't good enough. I don't think our passing was good enough.
No.
Seeing things like Marshall bombed a try in the second half at about 18, I think it was 18-0 at this point.
Yeah.
And he bombed a try. That's not Liam Marshall.
No.
And I think you could overanalyse it, and there's a temptation to overanalyse this and say everything was wrong.
Yeah.
It looked like a team that couldn't give the 1%ers and couldn't just find that extra gear. And that's potentially where you have to look at maybe rotating a little bit. Obviously, there's a couple of names that were in there that could have been involved in the rotation. Maybe a Jacob Douglas. Maybe, I'm trying to think, Eckersley was on the bench. Could he have started, having played 80, but he didn't play much on the Thursday the week before. But fundamentally, it wasn't good enough. And if you were to look at the statistics behind it, I think that just tells you it as it is. We didn't complete high enough. Completed at 75%. We didn't make enough meters. We didn't. We tackled the same amount. We didn't have to play the balls in the half. I think we didn't have to play the ball for a 10-15 minute spell in the 20. And after having that first 20 minutes where we dominated, and we'd had the field possession, even though we hadn't looked threatening. Leeds hit us on a breakaway try, and that just seemed to sap all the energy out of us. I don't know about you, but it felt to me like our game plan was similar to the league game. Let's blitz them in the first 25 minutes, and then let's just cruise. Let's just get through this game. And Leeds managed it. Yeah.
Do you know what I think we were lacking this game? A bit of leadership. I think we were lacking in the injuries we've had. I think we were lacking. I want to, before we go into explain this part, I want to give a bit of. I see a lot of comments whenever we lose about Farrell not being a captain, and I think that's a bit unfair. I think Farrell is a captain through what he does on the field. Yeah. He gives you an 8 out of 10 every game. There was a bit. I don't know if you've. And obviously, you was playing cricket on a Saturday, wasn't you? But Sam Tompkins was on the pre-match punditry, and he said Farrell's the captain for what he does with his actions. He says he's the one when you come back before pre-season, he lies about not going to the gym. He's been in the gym working out. He doesn't have an off-season. They said he's 30-odd years old. He still is the best one at bleep testing. Wigan, his fitness is impeccable because he keeps himself in good light. That's why he's a leader through his actions and what he does.
And there are different types of leaders.
Of course there are. People who lead through actions, people who might fire you up because when they speak, people listen.
One who is very much like that is Mike Cooper.
I was just about to say his name. Yeah.
You've watched, obviously, the documentary that Wigan have put out before the World Cup. We were sat right in front of him when he was taking kickoffs at the Challenge Cup final, and you could hear him barking orders. Every time they get together, it's Matt Cooper that was leading through his vocally.
That's what I think we was missing. I think we was missing a bit of vocality where when we started and we went, 16 and 18 down there, someone just to get behind the sticks and just a bit of leadership, someone to say, right, everybody, look at me. We don't panic. We don't start to play. This is what we need to do is get back into this game and calm everybody down a little bit. And I think we came out, we started overplaying. We started again, loose passes, going in there, bit of panic, and we need to chase this game up. And I just think that bit of leadership, maybe from a Cooper, maybe from a French. Obviously, Matty Peters praised Bevan French about how much he's come on as in the leadership group of the squad as well. I think we needed that person just to, a Tommy Lulawai back in the day, who just to get everybody in and just say, this is what we need to do to get back in this game. Let's not panic, let's calm down. And we've got a very young side out at the minute. I think everybody forgets that about our squad. Very young, especially when you take away Cooper from the forwards and stuff. You're looking at Havard and Byrne, and I know O'Neill wasn't playing the game, it was Lehman, but O'Neill and December at second row, the Walters. It's a very young team, and I think we're missing that experience, that leadership, just to say, let's not panic. Here's how we get back into this game. We get our completion rates up, we're in a complete set, back our defence, and the points will come. And I think we like that.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And it takes it takes time, and it takes losing games like this to develop leaders that know what to say.
Yeah.
And that'll come. And someone, and I wouldn't be surprised if Matty Peters spoken to the likes of Luke Thompson, Cade Ellis, This is where you need to actually develop your game to be able to have them conversations, to be that leader, not just through your actions, but verbally. I won't be surprised if he's talking to Liam Farrell, and that Faz can still develop his game and still improve on that aspect. But you could tell it was missing.
Yeah. Some people have just got that as well. It's hard. You can have, I want you to be a bit more, but I want you to back yourself. You can have those conversations with people, but there are just some people, when they speak, people listen. I know when I was at uni, I used to play a little bit. I used to always tell them, it was people might think, God, Lewis, she was a bad captain. But I used to tell somebody else to have last word before we got off coach at an away game. I said, because they listened. I said, they'll listen to me. I said, but you just get it across. I went, listening to you fires me up. I went, so you have last word off coach before we go. Because there's just some people who can do it. And I think, that's what we were missing. I think a bit of leadership, a bit of get behind the sticks, don't panic.
Let's just do this.
I've been here before, like you said, this will make leads out of other people. Look, I've been in this situation before. Here's what we need to do. We want to get out of it. We're not going to do this. We're going to do that. And I think that's what we missed a bit when we started when the scoreboard got a bit away from us.
Yeah. Now, obviously, there's a big thing to mention before we wrap this review of Wigan up. Obviously, the Harry Smith red card.
Yeah.
Just been announced he's got a 3-game ban and a £750 fine.
3, so that means he misses Saints, obviously on Saturday for Magic Weekend. He will miss Catalan away.
And I've actually got it here. Give me 1 second.
Sorry, I've put in the pressure here. Can't remember the third game.
Hull FC at home.
Hull FC at home, okay.
Before he comes back for KR at home. So, it's going to be 3 big games missing him. Someone's going to have to stand up and do his kicking game.
Not an easy task, but yeah.
Obviously, we don't have to replace the goal kicker because Kieran will be kicking
goals, yeah.
But this... I've seen a lot of people jump on Smith for this.
He seems to be our scapegoat, Harry Smith. Whenever we lose a game with a bad run of form, it's always... And I mean, before the red... Don't get me wrong, the red card you're going to talk about before, I'll let you kind of talk about that. I thought he was trying to do that. He was kicking early sometimes, but turned Leeds around. I don't think he was having an absolute shocker before this red card. I think, again, it was a moment of naivety and frustration that's got to him.
Yeah.
But he just seemed to be a scapegoat. People don't seem to like him. I don't think they realise what he brings to this team.
And he's a young lad. He's 24.
We're in Wigan number 7.
We're in Wigan number 7. We've talked about what's happened in his career in terms of the starting early and playing probably too many games early on in his career. And he's always managed it. He's always just got on. He's always dealt with it. Never really complained. And he's had a bad moment. He's going to have bad moments.
Yeah.
And I don't see where this thing comes from. I've seen a lot of people say, he's especially from other clubs' fans, slating his behaviour and whatever. He makes 30 tackles a game as a half-back. He stands up and does his job. Most clubs in Super League, in fact, I'm going to say all of them, would take Harry Smith in their 13.
Yeah.
Because of his game management. And I don't think there's another player in the league as good as Harry Smith at managing games.
Yeah.
But he's allowed to have off games. He's not perfect. Sean Edwards had bad games.
Yeah.
Andy Gregg had bad games.
Especially at 24.
Yeah. Name all the greats. They all have bad games. Yeah. And you learn from it.
Of course you do.
And you'll learn from it. And maybe, you know what, there's a note in that. I think he's only missed 1 game all season. Only got rested at London.
Yeah.
Was it about round 6 or round 7?
That's when Farriman, was it?
Farriman made his
his
first appearance this season.
London away, wasn't it?
Yeah. And no one has really talked about what it requires to play that role.
Well, I think people are going to find out now he's not playing for 3 games. I think it might be a case you don't know what you've got until it's gone.
Yeah. And you know what? Maybe in the long term it might be better and take some stick off him.
Yeah.
But everyone said it's new partnerships here, new partnerships there, and sort of forgot that Harry Smith's held this team together.
Yeah.
Having to deal with let's go through all the things that have changed. We started off with 2 9s. Lehman gets injured. O'Neill's our 9. Then O'Neill's injured and Farrell plays.
Mm-hmm.
Then Lehman's back. He's had to deal with French being his starting half. Then Hampshire. Then Farrand. Back to Hampshire.
Yeah.
Field at full back. Then French at full back. Then Exley at full back.
Yeah.
Now back to Field. He's had to change.
The only constant has been Harry Smith.
The only constant has been Harry Smith, and he sort of held this glue together with the forwards that have remained relatively okay, and our outside backs. That spine position, and you go across all the clubs. Saints have got this issue now that they're missing a lot of their spine. Warrington have picked up injuries in the spine. Hull KR have had changes to the spine. Smith's the only one that's stayed through it all. Not been banned. Not been injured. And it's an awful lot of pressure on a young lad. And I think that... Listen, I'm not saying he had a good game. He had a poor game by his own standard. And it's okay to criticise someone for having a poor game. But I think it's been completely over the top.
I think, again, the word I'd use is frustrated, and I think that red card just sums it up. I think it was a frustrated game for him. Like I said, there was some stuff he was trying to do well, and was under pressure, he was kicking early, trying to turn it around. One of the kicks went dead and you got a 7 tackle set. It's just one of those, sometimes they hold up, sometimes they go dead. But, when the balls were going to floor, you seen him slapping his hand, And I think, again, Bentley does what Bentley does. He does that every game. You've got to be better and just ignore it.
Yeah.
And he doesn't, and I think that was the kind of that exemplified the frustration we're seeing, I think, throughout the team. I think if it wasn't Harry Smith, it could have been easily someone else. Like I said, I think we saw 13 very frustrated men. I think with the reasonable performances, the loss to Hull, then the loss to Leeds, I think we saw they were tired, they were angry. They've got to turn it around.
And down on energy.
Yeah, I think so.
Right. I think that wraps it up.
Last one. We've been discussing this before just because I think some people might want to know our opinions on this. Smith out, what do you do with spine? I've said I'm going...
So I think there's only two. I think there's only 2 options.
Yeah.
Obviously, Lehman stays at 9.
Yeah.
Tom Forber did play in the reserves.
Okay. Is he come back from injury?
Coming back from injury.
Forber, yeah.
So he may, and to be fair, what I heard about 5-6 weeks ago was that he was going to be back for Magic, or available at Magic, if required. He's back. I wouldn't be surprised to see the 2 9s play, Forber and Lehman.
Forber comes onto the bench or
whatever negotiation, but that they're going to be the 9s in my opinion. I think Farrand comes in and plays in the halves.
Yeah, we was talking about this before we started recording, didn't we? I tried to... No, I didn't try. I did stick up for Hampshire a couple of weeks ago, and I did try and give him some leeway. He played full back, then played half back, and then went back to... There was changing positions, he was coming in out of the squad, and I said he's going to have... he's not got that consistency. But unfortunately, I think he's had a run of poor performances now where I can't really defend him. I'm a bit like, no, you've had a couple of games now at half back, and it's still... Not for when you've got a Farrand who only had really one bad game against Warrington. And we all had a bad game against Warrington, it weren't just Farrand.
The only thing I'd say about Farrand is from all reports and people that I've spoke to who said whatever, is that Farrand is a natural 7.
Yeah.
Rather than a 6.
Yeah.
And obviously we can play very separate 7 and 6s. Harry Smith's always been the game manager.
Yeah.
French is our attacking flair. I think they will try Farrand in that 7 role.
Yeah.
I think it's who partners him.
Yeah.
And for me, there's 2 options there. There is Adam Kieran, who did go in at half-back for a spell during this game against Leeds.
Yeah, second half.
And that would obviously mean Eckersley playing centre and Field at full-back. Or Field will play at 6. Eckersley stays at centre. Kieran stays at centre and Eckersley plays full-back. I would favour Eckersley going to full-back and Field into the halves with Farrand.
Agreed.
but I also wouldn't be disappointed if it was the other way around.
Yeah. I think that latter way causes less disruption. I think to just put Eckersley played full-back against Saints, had a man of the match performance and was brilliant.
Played full-back against Leigh.
Played full-back against Leigh. He's just playing full-back. Field obviously has played 6. Not since the late stage, probably since Magic Weekend actually of last season. Field at 6.
Which I think
I don't like Kieran at 6.
But Field stayed at full-back during the Leeds game, didn't he? When he took Hampshire off.
Yes, he put Eckersley at centre and Kieran to 6 with
So
Smith at 7.
I think that's what he'll do. Because I think if it was going to be the other way around, they would have done it in that game.
Yeah.
Eckersley and Field at 6.
Obviously, Peter will know what he wants to do. I personally would like to see Eckersley at full-back, Field at 6, Farrimond at 7. Kieran stays at centre for me.
Yeah, that's the way I would do it, but I also wouldn't be upset if it was the other way around.
No. Pete, I trust Pete make the right decision.
Yeah.
He'll see how they run in training and he'll have some of the strengths and weaknesses of us, the strengths and weaknesses of Saints, and make the decision accordingly. But that's what I'll be going with.
Yeah. Right, we'll take a quick break and we'll come back and have a look at some Eyecatchers. So we've got the Eyecatchers now. Now, normally Matty runs this section, but I've obviously had to deputise for him. So, Lewis, what's caught your eye this week in the rugby world?
So, first one I've got is from our game, so Leeds versus Wigan on Saturday.
All right, okay.
It's more caught my eye because it's just for the funny side of it, really. There was a Wigan scrum where I think either we threw a pass and knocked on, or we just threw a pass that went to nobody and like Marshall dove and it was a waste of a tackle or something. It was a crap play from a scrum, basically.
Wasn't good.
It wasn't good. Like a lot of things in that game for Wigan. But the camera straight away cut to Matty Pete, and I don't know why they do this. Obviously, well, I do know because they want to see the coach's reaction. Yeah. But you obviously know that, sometimes coaches don't really.
They can get a bit
animated. They don't say things for the camera. Do you know what I mean? They sometimes forget they're on camera and they just say how they feel in the heat of the moment. So the camera cut to Matty Pete, and you don't have to be a professional lip reader to work out what he says. Now, we don't swear on this podcast, so we can't repeat it. But basically, as clear as day, he just went, that was effing S. And you can work out,
you can work out the rest.
But it was just as clear as day, and the commentators tried to really brush it over, be like, oh, Matty Pete looks frustrated there. You don't really see that from Matty Pete. He's normally quite composed. That's like he looks frustrated. You know what he's just said. You can lip read him just like I can. And I just kind of watched him. He just kind of made me laugh how clear it was, and I was like, well, that's what you get. If his team just knocked on from the scrum play and he's frustrated, you can't really ever go in. He says that. He's showing his emotions, isn't he? That's mine, Tom. What's caught your eye this week?
It's over in the NRL.
I know what you're going to say.
One of the strangest tries you'll ever see. For two things, though, that happens. It's not just one thing that's caught my eye with it. So, it's the Newcastle Knights, and the ball gets played to the outside. Kalen Ponga catches the ball, fumbles it, drops it, and as it's falling, decides to kick it forward.
He managed to get like a knee or shin on it, doesn't he? It's not a clean kick. He definitely didn't mean to kick it. He's dropped it and threw a leg at it last minute, hasn't he?
Which, first of all, point out in Super League, I think would have been overturned for a knock-on. Because you have to make a deliberate play of a kick. But as the ball has then gone out to the right-hand side, the winger for the Newcastle Knights has run onto it, volleyed the ball from over the line. Yeah, it was like going into touch. Volleyed the ball over the line, got himself back, round the full back, and scored. And it's one of them freak tries that you don't see a lot, and they stand out in your memory. So if you've not seen this, try and describe it to you. So basically, Kalen Ponga was dropped it, but managed to get us to loose shin onto it. Because it was a loose shin, not a deliberate kick, it's heading for the sideline. It's almost like grubbered, hasn't it? It has, it's grubbered up, so it's bounced before the line, but it's in the air, so it's not classed as in touch because it hasn't hit the ground over the touch line.
And as it is in the air over the touchline, the winger manager's just boot and volley it into the in goal where it holds up.
Just trying to keep it in play.
Just trying to keep it in play, but it manages to hold up in goal and he runs around and scores. If you haven't watched it, it's the night's game. It is a freak try.
Yeah, something that you don't see a lot and definitely worth watching.
It is brilliant.
So, we haven't got a shot of the week this week, so there's not really been a big shot that stood out as shot of the week, but we've found something to mention. Player of the week, Kyle O'Donnell's performance against Hull FC.
Yeah, nothing you see these statistics for a back rower.
No, 4 tries. He got himself a try assist. 21 carries for nearly 200 metres. That's probably the performance of the round.
He's a good back rower, Kyle O'Donnell. He made a couple of line breaks against us on Tuesday. Whenever Leigh attacked and they put him on a short ball, he knows how to get in between defenders and cause a line break. And obviously showed this game. Not often you see, we do 1 or 2 tries doing well for a back rower in one game, but get 4.
It's
and an assist.
Massive performance, that. Really big
200
performance.
metres around, fair play to him. So yeah, he gets our Player of the Week award this week. Very well earned.
Yeah. Right, we're going to come back and we're going to have a look around the grounds. Okay, so we're now going to go around the grounds. Loads to talk about this week, loads of games, and we're going to start off on Thursday. Yeah, Thursday game, just have to check then. St Helens played Salford, and it went to Golden Point.
We thought this was going to be a close one, didn't we?
Yeah.
We made the predictions last week. We weren't disappointed.
Not disappointed at all. Probably best to start at the end of this game. Mo Zembai kicking a game-winning drop goal in extra time.
Yeah.
I also want to mention his tackle that he made was absolutely brilliant on... I forget who it was on.
So have I.
Was it Chris Hankinson?
Was it Hankinson?
I can't remember.
Yeah.
But
it don't matter.
From a Salford breakaway to get across the field and make a one-on-one tackle, put him into touch, was absolutely phenomenal. From a player that I thought might have been past his best going to Saints.
Yeah.
And he's really stood up in this difficult period for them with injuries. They've got a lot going on in terms of things like that. And he did stand up in this end of the game when they needed him to.
Yeah, it's really good for him.
But let's go back to the start. It was a very, very tight game. 2 closely managed teams in the table. Tommy Makinson opens the scoring first of all. Joe Shorrocks gets a sin bin. And during this time, Mark Sneed does what he did quite well. Yeah. Manages games. They get a penalty down there, take the 2. Gets them to 4 points to 2. They also kick another penalty with 6 minutes to go to take them to 4 points to 4. And something we both mentioned, Salford messed up here. They had an opportunity to take a 1-pointer just before half time and they sort of messed up. They go in at 4 points apiece. And that could have made all the difference at the end of the game. If there'd have been 5 points to 4 up at half time, it changes the end of this game.
Yes, no, I agree. Points change momentum in the game, doesn't it? It doesn't always have to be tries. Just penalty goal can deflate you, especially just before half time. You don't really want to be conceding points just before.
But Wonga scores after half time.
Yeah.
Percival converts to make it 10-4. Hankinson then scores with a finger.
Controversial, would you say, this one?
I think it's a try.
I do.
Because
did it go up as a try?
It went up as a try.
So yeah, if it goes up as a try, I don't think you've got sufficient evidence to overturn it.
I think if it goes up as no try, it gets overturned.
Do you? Right, yeah. Okay, interesting.
Because all he has to do is have a finger on it.
Yeah.
He's not had possession before and all he's got to do is touch it, and I think there's enough to show that it's overturned.
Yeah.
But Sneed converts, makes it 10 points to 10. Joe Batchelor scores, and this is where it gets a little bit more difficult for Saints. Darryl Clark went off injured.
Yeah.
So did Lewis Dodd at the same point in the game. Right. And they scored 2 minutes later through Joe Batchelor. To make it 16 points to 10 with the Percival conversion. Then Morgan Knowles gets sin-binned. He's got a 2-game ban for it.
2 game?
2 game.
Okay.
I think it's fair. I think it's reckless. I think there is mitigation because there is another tackler on, Joe Mellor. And I don't think anyone can really complain.
I think it's a bad one. And I'm very surprised this hasn't caught more attention and it slipped under the radar. I get his mitigation, he is falling. There is a big swinging arm from Knowles. And I'm not saying this just because I'm a Wigan fan and I'm trying to berate a Saints player, like any of our listeners to think we give quite objective views in what we say. Our opinions are subjective in that point, but we're not, always slated. We give credit where it's due. We're quite honest.
I thought it should have been 3 games. I couldn't complain at 2.
I'm not going to, I don't know. There is mitigation, I suppose. He is falling. The bad thing for me is the swinging arm. He's very lucky the swinging arm misses. Very lucky, because there is a big one. When you watch this back, it's not just that he's gone in for trying, but it is a you're thinking if he connects there, he's going to do some serious damage with that. It is reckless. Really reckless. And he's lucky he missed.
I think Morgan Knowles knows it.
Yeah, because he doesn't complain when he gets sin bin.
No.
He just goes out and walks off.
Doesn't do anything. He doesn't go, oh, you got it wrong. Which we then follow up with Joe Batchelor. 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes later, probably 30 seconds later, gets him sin-binned. He's been given for hitting off the ball.
Yes.
On Logan Lewis.
Which it was an off the ball challenge, and it was high.
And Logan Lewis was trying to run through the line.
Yeah.
But it was high as well. And I think it deserved a yellow. Yeah. My issue is here. We're probably going to set ourselves up here for a debate that could go on forever. Logan Lewis stays down.
We've had this debate before, haven't we? I think I know where we're going here.
But it's direct to the head. He then goes off, I think. If I remember right, he goes off injured after this. He doesn't stay on. Or he might do, but I thought he'd gone off. I'll have to watch the game back again to check. It's direct to the chin/neck. We've got so much. It's so difficult to understand what to do because we pride our game on being tough, and to expect it to be tough isn't unfair. But we're dealing with a massive lawsuit against the game for head contact, and if we're asking people to get up and just man up and deal with it, and a situation like Tom Amon where he didn't come off for a head test the other week and then he gets a game ban because of it, or he gets sat down mandatory because he wasn't able to do the HIA, which means he automatically fails it. You can't ask both aspects, and that's where I think with the head knocks, it's very difficult to ask players to just get up. But people are staying down looking for him, and George Williams has come out and said the same thing. Yeah. That players need to stop feigning injuries and milking them. But it puts the ref in a very difficult position.
There's a middle ground, isn't there?
Yeah.
We don't want people who are concussed or are seeing stars, they're not trying to play the ball, but they need to stay down and need to seek medical assistance because they've had a serious knock and they could be concussed. We don't want to go to to me this is a spectrum, isn't it? It's not just one or the other. Yeah. There is a scale of this. We don't want it to go to the other end of the spectrum, which is where you feel the slightest little knock on your neck, chin, head, wherever, and you could go and play you're not seeing stars, but you stay down, hold your head because you know the video ref will review it and you could possibly get... It's gamesmanship. And all clubs are doing it, including Wigan. Yeah. We're all doing it. It's crept into the game. And I think people like Joe... I think any rugby fan, this game, but rightly or wrongly, has been built on values of toughness.
This is where I'm going to throw a point to you. George Williams, I'm only picking on him because he's come out in the press this week and said it right.
So this is on the bench, wasn't it?
So this isn't just aimed at George. But watch Warrington games and you will see a player go into a tackle, stay down, and Williams go behind to play the ball and start throwing his arms up asking for a penalty. Yeah. Everyone's doing it. Yeah. So how can anyone come out and call it out when you're involved in doing it yourself? Do you get what I'm trying to say with that?
This is it. I do get what you're trying to say, and this is the thing, because everybody's doing it, everybody's got to play, everyone is playing the game now, and they've all turned to the gamesmanship side of it.
But everyone's asking everyone else to stop first.
Exactly, and that's the problem you've got. So, let's go back to this sentence. So what happens is, for the context, we've not mentioned the other half of it here. So Bachelor hits, who is it high?
Logan Lewis high.
And late. Off the ball, not late, off the ball. What then happens is, Bachelor goes over to Lewis, who stayed downstairs,
and he's getting medical attention.
No, let's sum up all the incident, and then we'll talk about it. So that Bachelor goes over and basically tells him, "Get up, stop milking a penalty," in so many words. Brad Singleton and Oliver Partington take exception to Bachelor shouting at an injured player on the floor, so they run in and say, "What you doing? You just hit him in the head, he's seeking medical assistance." So there's a coming together of players. Bachelor gets sin-binned for the tackle off the ball. Kendall grabs Watkins over, captain at the time, for Salford, and says, "I've warned you before, Callum, 2 minutes ago, if players run in, I'm going to sit him down." Partington has ran in to Bachelor. So he's sitting down for 10 minutes. So essentially, Bachelor gets sin-binned, Partington gets sin-binned for that.
Can I just stop you for 1 second and just say, I actually think this is really harsh on Ollie Partington. Because watch the aftermath. Partington stood next to Logan Lewis. Bachelor comes running in, goes towards the injured player, so much so that when everyone comes in to push it, Partington then steps towards him and pushes him away from him. And people get involved that much that the physio ends up having to almost lie on top of Logan Lewis to protect him.
Nenny McDonald is essentially like doing almost like a rugby union maul, trying to push all the gathering of players away from the physio and the player who's down.
And Mark Sneed, who's there, nearly falls over. It's really not a good look. But Partington doesn't come in and start pushing whatever.
He doesn't run in. He's done in for running in, but he does. He takes two steps towards him.
Because Bachelor is the one that runs in. Yeah. And he can't sin-bin Bachelor for running in when he's already sin-binned him for the high contact. So to then do Partington, I think, is very unfair. And if you're going to sin-bin Partington for that, Singleton should have gone. I think Matt Whitley should have gone.
Yeah.
Because they all walked
Partington was not the only one who ran it.
No.
He's basically done and gone, "You start the players ran in," which he did. Yeah. But that's what he's done it for, isn't it?
Because Bachelor initiates it by running.
And he's sent him.
If Partington runs at Bachelor and says, "You've nailed my mate on the floor,"
then fair enough.
And sin-bin him. But Partington stands there next to Lewis and doesn't actually do anything.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's a bit harsh on Bachelor.
Yeah.
So what my kind of point is here with this, and this is going to probably take a bit of time, but my point is with this, right? We talked about this. We've talked about this in previous episodes, about this gamesmanship, and we all know it's screwing into the game. The fans know it. The players know it. It's a side product to think of every game being on TV and therefore a video ref being...
Turn the screen off.
Very true. That is a simple solution.
Before we do that, because I know what you're going to go into now.
Go on.
Turn the screen off, and then the ref can't rejudge it.
Yeah. There's no review on the field. The match review panel can do it post game.
As soon as it stops, if he's missed it, he's missed it.
Yeah.
Don't give the opportunity to everyone to look at the screen and go, "Oh, you've got that wrong."
Yes.
Because that just sets you up for failure. And then everyone at the ground's going, "Oh, the ref missed it."
Yeah.
And then the ref gets slated. Then the ref's trying to correct a bad decision. Turn the screen off.
Yeah.
Show the game live, but as soon as the ball stops, turn it off.
Yeah, because this is the thing with this, and I suppose that's one solution. The thing is, I think the ref's in a bit of an hard place for this one, because with the screen being on, like you say, because someone goes down holding his head, the ref can't say, "You're not actually hurt, get up and play your ball." Because if he does that, and then it turns out actually it wasn't, he was actually concussed, there's going to be another lawsuit against the... So that can't happen.
But if he's actually concussed, he should be going for a HIA.
Well, yes, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's why the ref can't... The ref does not know if he is faking, or he can't assume he is faking.
No, he has to assume
he's injured and stop the game accordingly. He has to do that. That has to happen.
Yeah.
He can't tell him to get up and play his ball. What's happening now is, I think I raised this a bit, is what happened in the NRL. The players are now starting to try and... Well, Bachelor, I think, has been the first one for this, of the players trying to police it themselves. You're having it on. And there was a bit of a famous one in the NRL with Sam Burgess and Robbie Farah where he shouts, "Get up, you cat," or something like that, and you can hear it on the ref's mic. And I think that's what's happened here. Bachelor's gone over and gone, "Get up, you're having it on, you're trying to milk a penalty. have some respect for the game, stand up and play. And I think actually this bloke, I think he actually did go off at the end of it. So this one, I think Baxter's got it wrong, thinking he's fake and he's not. Which again is the problem. Nobody knows, except the player who's down, is he actually hurt or not.
And with this, you then end up with, is a player calling it out, or is a player trying to call it out to get away with his indiscretion?
Exactly.
So
what do we do, is my question.
I'm going to offer a solution.
Because nobody wants this gamesmanship in the game. This isn't the values rugby league's been built on. No. We've always prided ourselves on not being like football, pretending to work rolling around on the floor, faking injuries. We've been being tough, get up, play your ball, don't let the opposition think you've hurt them.
I'm going to offer a solution. And it comes from that Harry Smith incident on Tuesday in the league game. Harry Smith, towards the end of the game, stayed down with a head/neck injury. Got the all clear for the HIA. Wigan got a penalty from it.
Yeah.
But he went with a green card. Now, the rules currently state that a green card cannot be given for a head injury.
Correct.
I'm going to say, if the game has to stop for an injury, whether the ref gives a penalty or not, unless that player gets subbed off because he's injured and goes off the field, or goes for a HIA, the player is green carded. And
Mikey Lewis semi-final. Joe Shovik sent off, prime example. Joe Shovik sent off a supposedly direct contact to the head, and Mikey Lewis doesn't go off for an HIA.
Yeah. But he either has to go off for a HIA or he gets a green card. If a player stays down because he's at his knee and the game gets stopped, if he doesn't get subbed off, he gets a green card. And they don't use it enough, and that's how it should be. And I'm going to say they have to include that with head contact.
Yeah.
If the ref doesn't give the penalty live because he's not seeing it, and you have to stay down to get your penalty, there's been enough contact for you to stay down, go and have 2 minutes on the sideline, and the doctor can do all the pre-head tests on the sideline.
Yeah.
If he's cleared you to be all right, you have to go and stand there for 2 minutes to prove that you are.
Yeah.
And I think using that green card, and the only way, if you stay down and make me stop the game, you must have been hurt, so you can have 2 minutes at the sideline. You've not needed your HIA, but you can have 2 minutes sat down.
Yeah.
And make the green card more used, more affiliated. Do not stay down with an injury unless you're injured. Because if you're injured, you go in for a HIA or you're getting subbed off.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. They're the two things that are going to happen.
Yeah.
If you're injured, you're getting subbed off or you're having a HIA. If you have to stay down and neither of them happen, then you go in for a green card. Whether that's head contact or not.
Yeah. Like I say, I'm not... Yeah, that could be... I want to see a solution to it. I don't personally... I think that could work. I think turning the screen off is a good shape. I just don't want to see this in the game.
I don't think it's one solution.
It's making players frustrated because of, again, how... And I know you don't like this word, but how inconsistent it is. Wigan has been done so many times by this where the referee said play on, stayed down on his head, fans scream boo because they know he's trying to milk a penalty, watches it on the screen, there is contact to the head, very slight, penalty, and then suddenly bloke gets up his fine, he kicks it into touch in the game 30 metres. But then the week after, there was one, I think it was Jack Smith who was reffing, this was a good couple of weeks ago, so I'm going back in time. But Misty gets a direct shoulder contact to the head. We watch it on the screen and go, right, here we go. We get to it. This has happened to us so many times. This is our chance to use the rule back now. He's watched it 3 times and seen Misky's been hitting head. We're going to get a penalty here. And he goes, no, play on. And everyone goes, hold on a minute. We've been done so many times by that. And then when it's happened to us, they've just said, oh no, it's not a penalty. It's like, what is going on? And I think that's why players tend to get frustrated and run in. And
I am just going to reiterate my point on this. You will never get consistency.
You won't, no.
Because people are human.
Yes.
And humans make mistakes. Yeah. So to expect refs to be perfect, and I feel for refs, because whenever they have a bad game for your side, the opposition say, oh no, he was good. He did his job. I don't think he got anything wrong. But when it's your side that's affected, the ref's rubbish, the ref's this, the ref's that, the ref's a cheat. He's probably just made a bad decision.
Yeah.
But I would just say, it's a combination of 3 or 4 things. Turn the screen off so you can't review it. If the ref misses it live, he misses it. You just have to deal with it.
And let's face it, if everybody misses, they'll miss one for the other team.
Yeah.
They even themselves out over 80 minutes, don't they?
We say it during games when the ref might miss a knock on, or we give away a 6 again, and we go, we'll get one back at some point. I'm not worried about giving a 6 again away because they usually level themselves out. If the game's level, you'll get the same amount of penalties roughly, and same amount of set restarts, and same amount of 50-50 calls. Because they are 50-50s. But let's deal with it now. You've had to stay down because of a knock, because of an injury, 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And you may get the odd one where a player tries to get up. You might get it. But we've seen 2 or 3 times this season already, where a player's got up, carried on, and then the independent doctor said you need to come off for a HIA.
Yeah, because normally it's hard to fake when you generally have had a decent knock to the head, because you normally get up and you're bloody...
All over the place.
All over the place, you try and play your ball, and the doctor goes, you need to get off now.
And a couple of times, you will get up, play on, and the ref says, actually, the doctor will say, because of the way the contact's been, I want you to have one. Yeah. And they'll pull them off within the set. And that's fine. But if you stay down and you don't have to go off, there's a green card, go and sit down for 2 minutes, just make sure you're all right. And we actually pander to it and go, oh, you need to make sure you're okay, so let's go and have 2 minutes. I think going that way and saying, oh, we're looking after you here, you've stayed down, so we've got to look after you, and making you sit down for 2 minutes will stop people doing it.
And it's like I say, we're not trying to say that, men are robots either. Injuries do. When I used to play the game, your knee gets twisted in a tackle, or, you get picked up and you land on your leg funny, your knee buckles a bit. You go for the stand-up, play your ball, and you realise your knee's a bit dead, or your leg's a bit dead, so you can't play your ball, but after 5 minutes, you're able to stand up,
feel
put
all
your
right
weight back on and put on it. So that's not gamesmanship, you're legitimately hurt. I think what we're saying here, the problem is the gamesmanship of, I know, because again, you said the screen is on and it will get reviewed and looked at in slow motion 3 times. I've just felt contact to my chin. If I stay down and hold it, it's going to get looked at if the ref's seen it or not. And that's what we need to try and solve out the game.
Well, that's it. You've made me look at it.
Yeah.
So go and sit down.
Yes, exactly. Should we move on? We've spent 20 minutes on this and it's only the first game.
We've really dove into that, actually. Let's go.
Sorry, last thing about this game, just looking at the league table. Big win this for Saints, because if Salford would have got the late drop goal, that would have put them on 28 and Saints would have kept on 24, which means they would have moved down to 7.
And Leeds would be 2 points behind them.
And Leeds would be 2 points behind. So that, in the scheme of things, is actually a very big
obviously
last-minute drop goal for Saints, not just in terms of form and for confidence, but in terms of the league table as well.
I just want to add to that. That Saints win obviously leaves 4 points behind, but they're chasing 3 teams, St Helens, Catalans and Salford, all on 26. And Leigh, I think it keeps Leeds and Leigh in.
Yeah.
If that game had gone to Salford, I think there's 3 teams competing for that 6th spot. Here now there's 5 or 6 teams competing.
Yeah, I agree.
Right, next one, Hull KR, Castleford. Hull KR win 36 points to 6.
Yeah, probably not too much to say about this game. I think a result most people would have expected at Craven Park.
Yeah, I would have
a strong Hull KR win.
Castleford getting the first points though.
Yeah.
6-0 up just before the 10-minute mark, but then it was all one-way traffic there.
Yeah.
Plenty of tries. Joe Burgess got 2. Hiku, Lewis, Ryan Hall picked up 2, I think.
Very good. 1. Very good back line for Hull KR. Very good with Budget, with Gillett, with Hiku, Evels.
That back 5, Evels,
Hall,
Burgess, Hall, and Hiku and Gildart will compete with any back 5 in the league.
Good back 5, that.
And they've got depth as well. They've got people like Opacek. Who's the other winger?
Broadbent.
Centre,
who they got.
Yeah, so they've got options there to bring people in and make changes.
They have a strong squad.
So they'll be happy with that. Castleford, I think, have probably just done enough. They're out of the relegation thing. The only thing is that they could catch Huddersfield.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. I always think maybe this is maybe a bit pessimistic because they are professional with players. They'll be competitive in their very nature. But sometimes I think, no, actually, for Cass now, what is the motivation?
I think Castle look at the running.
Do you know what I mean? It's like they know they're not going to make the playoffs. They know they're not fighting for relegate or for the wooden spoon. It's like.
But Castle have got a run of games here. They've got to play Huddersfield. They've got to play Hull FC. They've got to play Saints, Leigh. They could actually look at themselves and go, well, let's get 9th.
Yeah, possibly.
You know what? Be better than Huddersfield, Hull and London. And after the season they had previous, that would be a really good finish for them and another step forward.
Yeah.
So I think Cass are still playing to get up that table.
Yeah, possibly.
Catalans.
Yeah, the other game for another 1 pointer.
Yeah, beat Huddersfield 23 points to 22. This time it didn't go to golden point. Artemorg kicking a 1 pointer with about 3 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Catalans were 22-10 up, sorry. Do you think 14-0 up and then 22 points to 10 up? Do you think they'll be disappointed in letting Huddersfield back into this and not killing the game off?
I think that would be Steve McNamara's team talk at full time. You've done well to get the win, but we could have very easily lost that. We need to be managing end of games better than 12 points in the lead. They
actually missed 4 kicks at goal. From being 14-10 up at half time, after Ramon scores, they missed a kick. Ikavalu scores in the 65th minute to make it 22-10, missed the kick, and Sam Hewitt scores 2 minutes later. The set after points.
Yeah.
That's not good enough, and Tuilala here scoring 3 minutes after that. I still think that's worrying for Catalan.
And yeah, especially like you say, back end of the season, when you're winning, you need to be finishing off games and walking away with your 2 points comfortably. You don't want to be letting teams back into it because, I mean, they've got away with it because they've won this one. But they could have for every one of those you win, you'll lose another. So they can't be affording to let teams back into it too many times because you will get bitten.
We're going to move on to another team here. Warrington obviously beat London 36 points to 22.
This is on a Sunday, isn't it? Obviously, our game was Saturday.
I know it's not a massive points turnaround or whatever, but 28-10 up, Warrington. They managed this game out. They sort of did what we did to Leigh.
Yeah.
Played in second gear, not too worried about points, just trying to get the job done and no injuries. They were at 28 points to 22. Josh Drinkwater very cleverly began a penalty kicks too, takes it to an 8-point gap, and Matty Ashton scores on the hooter in the 80th minute. Just very well managed.
Yeah.
I'm really happy with London. They got the chance to actually not finish bottom if they beat Hull FC at Magic this weekend. Obviously, points difference will play a part there, and Warrington, London's is significantly worse. But they actually stuck in this game. They stuck with Warrington, got 22 points against them. They got 20 points against us earlier on in the season. So, some promising signs and a bit of talk that they might stay in the league. Yeah,
I mean, you know, I'm a fan of having a team from the capital in the comp. I think it's good for the spread of the game. I think it's good because I think the English game, I think of how many really good athletes that are probably down south would make fantastic with the league players who probably don't actually know the game even exists or never even thought to play it, but we're missing so many good athletes we could add to the talent pool. That would help England internationally. I think a strong London team and a recognised London team is what we need. So yeah, I think it needs to be. I know obviously other people say, no, you've got to earn your places, so you can't be given it because you're the capital, which I do understand, but I think for the wider context of the game, some investment into down south
London
would be brilliant.
Right, last game on Sunday as well. Leigh beat Hull FC 42 points to 12. It was 12-12 at half time. The thing for me with this is with 3 minutes to go in the first half, McIntosh gets sin-binned. Hull FC scored to make it 12-12. And then, while still down to 12 men, Kai O'Donnell scores. Zach Hardacre scores a minute after McIntosh comes back on the field. And you're just like, they've lost all momentum. I feel like this is the consistent thing with Hull FC. They're on top, lose momentum. On top, have a chance to cause some issues, give it away. And you just can't keep doing that.
There's two things really, which it could be either or both. For a result to be 12-12 at half time and then to come out for the second half, it either means, you know, when you've conceded 2 tries, you've either 1, given up, or 2, you're not fit enough for staying in games for 80 minutes.
I still think,
You shouldn't be conceding 30 points in 40 minutes.
No.
when it's 12-12 and you've lost 42-12, that either says you've given up, you've just gone, game's gone after the second try and given up, or you're not fit enough at staying games, which both are worrying.
Yeah. And
both are worrying.
Again, I just want to mention the type of tries they conceded. Kyle O'Donnell scored 4. Yeah. He's a second rower.
If you watch Eyecatchers, he just literally runs through. There's no other way. He does no fancy move.
Frankie Holton scores.
He just literally picks the ball up and just runs and just gets through the line and scores.
The soft tries. Frankie Holton scored, another second rower. Zach Eyecatchers gets 2. And that's just... You can't concede tries like that.
No.
Right, that wraps that up. We're going to come back and we've got a little bit of news after the break.
Right, mate. Time for some news. I'll say a bit of a mix, kind of not necessarily loads going in the World Rugby League this week, but not necessarily a quiet week either. First one we're going to go with, Sky Sports Plus has launched.
Yeah.
On the Rugby League news, because I think it launched, on...
This week.
Friday, when the rugby games were on? Or did it launch the day before? It launched for the EFL, didn't it?
Yeah.
Which was the big thing, but it was showing some the Friday night games on there.
Yeah.
So the Friday night games were on Sky Sports Plus. It's not on Arena or Action, it was on the Sky Sports Plus. It was tainted in the fact of I've seen there was a bit of problems with it. I suppose it's a new thing.
There's always going to be problems.
There's always going to be teething problems. They're trying to basically show a lot of different things and you get to choose which one you watch. So loads are being live streamed and on this Plus you get to watch whichever game you'd like with a selection. It's a bit like when you used to press the red button and then choose which one you'd like to view essentially. I believe I think it was the Hull KR and Cass game worked okay, but the Huddersfield and Catalan had some connection issues.
Yeah.
I don't have Sky. I use Sky Sports through a Now TV subscription. I struggled to get the Huddersfield and Catalan game on. When I managed to get it on, it was about 5-10 minutes already into the game. But again, I think it's just general teething problems. But another channel which Rugby League could be shown on through Sky Sports, so I take it that is good news. We can get past the teething problems.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of people complaining, and I want to mention this, right, about why do certain sports have their own channel, for example. And you only have to look at the Twitter following for me. Sky Sports Premier League has 12.3 million followers. That's why there's a Premier League channel. Sky Sports F1 has 2 million followers. Sky Sports Cricket has just under 1 million followers on Twitter. Sky Sports Rugby League has under 150,000.
Yeah.
Sky Sports Rugby Union has just over 200,000. So rugby as a channel only has 350,000 followers.
Yeah.
There is a reason that we don't have a Sky Sports Rugby League channel. And that's why things like Sky Sports Plus have to be about. Otherwise we wouldn't get the chance to watch it.
And there's only so much Rugby League you can consume. Like they're trying to say, I love the game, but I don't want to be watching the same Super League goals, 15-minute, same grand final episodes that they always show. Do you know what I mean?
And at the moment,
there's only...
So you can get, obviously, if you're in Australia watching it, they've got loads of different shows. They've got NRL 360, the Matty Johns show, just to name two. They've got James Graham's podcast is live. It can be viewed live.
Yeah.
And they repeat them in between, and then they show live games through the year.
Yeah.
Then they throw flashback origins. We don't have enough catalogued. No. We don't even have a show really. We have a 15-minute section on BBC or 30 minutes on a Wednesday, I think it is. So we're not going to have a dedicated channel.
No.
When the game following increases and we can demand more money from the Sky deal, we might.
I think it's that, innit?
The game isn't big enough yet.
What's the old saying? You give them an inch and they take a mile. Like Sky Sports have said we're going to show every single game on TV and people, that's not good enough, we want our own. Like, come on. They're showing every single game at the minute.
Yeah.
You know, all right, some games overlap, but they can't.
It's better than what
It's
it
a
was.
win. It's a win. Do you know what I mean? Take the wins.
Is it better than what it was 2 years ago?
Of course it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So
we'll take it.
don't get me wrong. I want it to be better. I'd love us to have our own
I
channel.
mean, the games especially when the fixtures line up, that you've got a Thursday night, a Friday night, a Saturday, and a Sunday. Like when you've got them on all 4 days.
You can watch a game of rugby on every day.
And every day from Thursday till Sunday. That's fantastic for me. Like, that's
It's
nothing
not.
to turn your nose up at.
And to stray for perfection isn't a bad thing. I would love it to be perfect, but at the moment, it's improving. So
Yeah.
I'll take
The
it.
game's got to grow, hasn't it, before we start doing that. Yeah, we have got some NRL kind of news, but we'll stick in this country for the time being. It's been announced that even though they don't know where it's going to be, Magic Weekend is staying.
Yep.
So Magic Weekend is a concept, obviously, I forget, kind of every year, for the last couple of years, it's kind of been through. Is it going to keep
17
it?
years. Well, it's 17 years now of Magic.
Yeah, but in the last couple of years, they've always debated, they're going to keep it, is it going to be scrapped, are they going to change? They always kind of change the venue every now and then. I think it's good it's staying.
Yes.
I like it as a concept.
My only annoyance is that we haven't publicised it enough, and now the NRL have took it and made it a massive event over there,
Yeah.
and ours looks like it's dying, and really they've actually copied it from us.
I think, personally, I don't want to go into a 20-minute debate on this because, again, we're a long time, but I think, personally, the thing we went wrong was we tried to almost use it as an expansion project as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's why when you put it in place like Newcastle, especially when you take into account people go to cup games, you know, successful teams might make a trip down to London to go to Wembley. You know, we've just announced a living game in Vegas. Like, people can't do everything. So to then ask people to trek up to Newcastle, for example, to watch to go to a Magic Weekend and attend, it is a lot of people. And I think sometimes actually just the Magic Weekend, keeping that in the heartlands of the M62 corridor wasn't actually a bad thing.
Yeah,
So
don't get me
people
wrong.
can get to it.
I wouldn't mind if it was 2 years of steady whatever, and they announced the third year it was going to be in Cardiff. It was going
It's
to
like
be
a 3-year cycle.
Yeah,
The
be
third
double.
year would be an expansion kind of thing.
And you can actually save up for it then. And you can set yourself. We don't know where Magic's going to be next year.
I went to one at the Etihad, and that was brilliant when it was at the Etihad.
I also think Newcastle's a massive stadium,
Yeah.
and you've got to have the infrastructure around it. Ellen Road this year is a little bit smaller, but there is nothing. There's nothing around it.
Yeah.
I think there's a pub.
Yeah.
And then you're in the ground, and you've got a 20-minute walk into the centre of Leeds.
Yeah.
At least Newcastle, you're right in the centre of it, and you're around whatever, and you can make a day of it.
Yeah.
It's a funny situation, and you've got to find a stadium that's probably more like 30 to 40,000 and actually sell it out than have a big 50, 60,000 seater stadium that doesn't get sold out. You could put it at Anfield, but you're not going to sell it out. Then everyone complains, tickets are too expensive, this is that, and really you're never going to sell it out. You're setting yourself up to fail.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go on, what's next?
I think so. Next up, we have got another staying kind of news line. Magic Weekend is staying. So is Lachlan Lamb. It's been announced that Lachlan Lamb is he's not signed a new deal, but his kind of future has been up in the air of is he going to leave, and he's kind of announced he's going to stick out his contract with Leigh for this foreseeable future.
Yes, there was talk that he was leaving. Adrian Lamb came out after the game this week and said that he would be staying for 2025. He is contracted for 2025, but there's talks that teams were going to try and buy him out. He's staying. I think it's a good stay for Leigh.
Yeah, definitely. Good plan.
I've heard a lot of rumours about another winger that they're going to try and sign. They're trying to bring Mike Acebo on, and a lot of it depended on whether Lucky Lamb was staying.
Right, okay.
So that might be good news for them then.
Very good. I'm going to leave one till the last because this might bring up another bit of a discussion. Jumping over to a bit of NRL news, Australian news. Superstar of the game over in the NRL, Latrell Mitchell. If you know anything about the NRL, you have heard of Latrell Mitchell. He's landed himself in a bit of controversy, should we say. Should say nothing has been kind of proven yet.
It's gone to the NRL.
It's gone to the integrity unit, they call it the NRL. So an image has been leaked of Latrell Mitchell essentially like leaning over a table, and there is a white substance. It hasn't been confirmed it is a drug or anything like that.
Before we go into it, should point out this happens quite a lot.
Yes, yeah.
There was one with Val Holmes at the start of the year where he was having a powder in a bag and it was actually for an energy drink or something, an electrolyte. The integrity unit is basically used for anything that could potentially cause controversy.
Yeah, bring shame on the game type thing. So nothing has necessarily been confirmed, but it is going to anything at the minute, wondering obviously what it is. And obviously I'm guessing some kind of investigation will take place. For now, all we know is it is a white powder. It's not been confirmed it is a drug or anything like that. It's not been confirmed that the drill has actually
done anything.
Done anything, ingested it, or whatever, taken the substance or whatever, got it into his system. So it's kind of just wait and see about that one.
Yeah.
A couple of, maybe not news, bit of insight. IMG. Yes. Obviously, we know the IMG system's coming into place. It's going to grade teams and use a points-based system off many different factors, attendances, club history, recent success, stadium structure, all these things go into your IMG score. They have kind of made it available, some information, that max points for your attendance is 2.5. 2.5. Is that right? So basically, your attendance, your average attendance over the last 3 seasons will get you some points, and the maximum you can get for your attendance is 2.5.
But just to throw that there, that 2.5 points is for anything over 7,500 fans.
So the cap for the two is, so if you're averaging in the last 3 seasons, correct me if I'm wrong, if you are averaging over the last 3 seasons, you have averaged an attendance of 7,500 or higher, you will get the maximum of 2.5 points. If you have a crowd figure between 3,000 and 7,499, it's going to be 2 points. If you have it between 1,500 and 2,999, you get 1.5 points. So, teams like Wigan, Saints, Leeds, Catalan.
Well, everyone that would get 2.5 points, as it currently stands, because it's only going off round 20, this last week of fixtures hasn't gone on to it. Catalan, Hull FC, Hull KR, Leeds, Saints, Warrington and Wigan would all get 2.5 points. Wigan are averaging 13,500 over a 3-year period. Warrington 9,700. St Helens 12,200. So a lot of them are very close. Leeds is 13,400. Hull KR massive, way above the points. Castleford are very, very close to this. Castleford are averaging 7,547 fans, so just 47 over that maximum bracket.
Fair play to Cast though.
Yeah, through some very difficult seasons.
Very difficult season, not the biggest stadium, but the fans keep turning up for them, so fair play to Cast.
Well, then going through the other clubs, Huddersfield get 2 points. They average 5,150. That's got to be better from Huddersfield. Salford is 2 points with an average of 4,800. Toulouse are averaging 3,700. They did average 5,000 when in Super League in 2022, but at the moment average 3,700. Wakey would get 2 points with an average of 4,500, but their average is still a lot higher this season. But because of the 2 poor seasons in 2022 and 2023, it's dragged down. Another one like that is Leigh. The Leigh Leopards average 2 points, or will get 2 points. They currently average 6,187 over a 3-year period.
Yeah.
But in this season, are averaging over 8,000 fans, so are over the bracket.
Yes.
But because of the 2022 season, which was in the Championship, where they only averaged 3,200...
Because it takes into account the last 3 seasons, the last Championship one is pulling them down.
And the points that they get for that, for performance on the field, different things like that, will be affected by that Championship season in 2022.
Mr. Bowman won't be happy with that.
Well, everyone signed up to it, so everyone knows it. Leigh's thing is he's staying Super League this year.
Yeah, no, obviously.
Average over 7,000, and the year after you're going to get 2.5 points. And London, they are pulling in over 3,000 fans this year, but because of the previous seasons, they are barely exceeding 1,800. So just about get 1.5. So they're very close to falling off and getting 1 point. real difficult for them.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, is there anyone else to mention? No, they're the main teams in contention with IMG.
Yeah.
And obviously this is going to be a continual thing, so it's not about just having one good season.
Yeah.
It's a longevity of that.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's what hopefully is going to help the game, isn't it?
Because obviously
attendance is to go up, and they stay up year on year, don't we?
just remember with that when you do better, you often get more fans.
Yeah.
So it's showing success over a longer period of time. Right, should we talk
It's
a little
also
bit?
it's also about I think what the IMG thing is doing as well is it's encouraging clubs and teams to invest and get better, isn't it?
Yep.
You want people more coming to your stadium or make your stadium a good place to be. Invest in good facilities, make it a place that people want to go to every week and experience and be there, yeah. So I think it's a good thing.
Right, should we talk a little bit about the NRL quickly?
Yes, we're
Some
doing
big
NRL,
games.
Yeah, go on.
Melbourne beat the Roosters 28 points to 16. Doing a job again, getting players back. Nice to see that spine of Melbourne all playing.
What we're looking at is Melbourne versus Rabbitohs,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Yeah, so 28-16 against the Rabbitohs.
But I just want to mention, they finally got that spine back and working in a row. Pappenhausen, Munster, Hughes and Grant. And I don't think there's a 1, 6, 7, 9 better in the league than them. It's about keeping them fit for the Melbourne Storm.
Still top of the table, Melbourne.
Yeah, just about.
Doing well.
And they've actually got to play each other Thursday. Penrith, Melbourne at Penrith.
Oh, that'll be a good game.
Yeah, 10 to 11 kickoff. And
that'll be okay.
I don't know, but I would expect that to be on Sky. Cronulla battered Gold Coast 44 points to 0.
Two very hit and miss teams this season, aren't they? Well, sometimes Cronulla batter or get battered, and Gold Coast either get battered or batter someone.
Look, Cronulla still find themselves in the 4th. Gold Coast have got a lot to work on.
Yeah.
It's going to take time. They're still missing, obviously, Nico Hines, Cronulla, who is a lot of their attacking points. Now Penrith beat Parramatta 36 points to 34.
Close this game.
With 10 minutes to go, they were 14 points behind. Clint Gutherson kicked a goal in the 71st minute to make it 34-20. And Toto scores, Cleary converts. Taruva scores and he misses the kick with 4 minutes to go. And Penrith roll downfield. They'll be really disappointed here, Parramatta, that they score back-to-back within a minute. Isaac Targo scores, and you just know Nathan Cleary's kicking it. You just know, because he is ultimate big game player.
Yeah.
I just love him. Manly ripped apart Canberra, really. Were 46 points to 12 up. Sort of switched off in the last and let it go back to 46-24.
Yeah.
Turbo, Cherry Evans, all the big guns played. Ruben Garrick. They seem to have hit fitness at the right time for me.
Yeah. Yeah, they're getting the... It's a very... couple of, again, hit and miss teams. I think the NRL's been interesting this season, hasn't it? You've had, we're going to go on to these in the next game now, but you've got obviously like Brisbane who are kind of been up and down. You've had your kind of maybe that's it. You've had your kind of Penrith and Penrith, that's only one, isn't it? Melbourne and Penrith, who have kind of stayed up there consistently, winning week in, week out. I think everybody else, Manly, Brisbane's, Canberra's, they've just been a bit hit and miss. Definitely a situation there. But Brisbane beat the North Queensland Cowboys up in Townsville. Convincingly.
42 points to 18. The Bulldogs beat St George. We talked about them being two teams that...
Yeah, big game this one, wasn't it?
And I think, if we're being honest, it puts Bulldogs in contention to catch up with Cronulla and make the 4, which had been massive.
Well, considering where they were last year. Yeah.
The Dolphins beat the New Zealand Warriors. Herbie Farnworth got Player of the Round. If you check on the fantasy style, they deal a lot with the fantasy rugby league over there. A very impressive performance.
Scored 2 this game, didn't he?
Scored 2, including a length of the fielder. Really, really good work. Went to Golden Point. Sean O'Sullivan kicked a 2-point field goal.
He kicked a 2-pointer?
Penalty, wasn't it? Sorry. It was a penalty.
Was it? It does say drop goal, though. Sky Sports News says drop goal, O'Sullivan 83rd.
Yes.
Sorry, a 2-point field goal.
My mistake. I'm confused there. And then that probably means that the Dolphins are still in contention, just about. They're on the 8. They've got a lot of teams chasing them.
They've done well this season, haven't they?
Yeah.
The Dolphins, they've been going
to
well.
back up that first season. And then Newcastle beating the West Tigers. Is anyone surprised? Because I'm not. Kai Pierce-Paul made himself a regular in that side. He's made the number 12 shirt his own. He's stuck in it and probably played there for the last 10 games. Jackson Hastings, out of the 18, playing reserves. I think his future will be away from...
I think he's coming to Super League.
I don't know if he's coming to the Super League. I think he'll be away
There's
from...
speculation about Leeds, wasn't there? That seems to have died down a bit now.
Yeah.
But yeah, waiting for Kai Pierce-Paul to get his first try, but he's definitely made that second row shirt his own position. It seems to be him and Frizzell they're going with at the back, the back row, doesn't it?
Definitely. Right, that wraps it up, and we're just going to do some quick predictions when we come back. Right, it's Magic Week, and we've got plenty of games to talk about, so we're going to have some predictions. Lewis, first game on Saturday, Hull FC, London. Who are you going?
Hull FC.
You sounded really confident then.
Well, it's two teams at the bottom of the table, isn't it? This could decide who finishes bottom, couldn't it? So
I think Hull FC.
yeah, I do still think they've got too much for them.
Wigan Saints, before we get into this, I want to throw something at you here.
Go on.
Wigan are going to be missing the 6, 7 and 9.
Yeah.
Bevan French and O'Neill through injuries, and
Smith threw a ban.
Smith through a ban. St Helens are going to be missing Jack Wellesby, the number 1, the 6, the 7 and 9. Obviously the squads haven't been released. This is only going off what we've been told.
Lomax
is banned.
Lomax is banned?
Still banned, isn't he, from 3 weeks ago.
Oh, right.
Dodd, I've heard, is out for a month.
Clark's broke his foot.
And Clark's been pictured in a moon boot for 4. So out of the 8 spine players, if you want to include 13s as being a part of your spine, Morgan Knowles is banned. KRS will be available. So out of the 1, 6, 7, 9 and 13, there are 2 available out of the 10 that would have been named at the start of the season. That's ridiculous. And I can see this being a real game of attrition, of fight and winning down the middle, really.
I might see some future stars in this game.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, you're going Wigan.
Yes.
What do you think? I think this is going to be a game won by no more than 10 points.
I think we've had this conversation about St Helens before. I think this is where the lack of depth is going to hurt them. Our 9's out, but we've got Lehman coming in. Our 7 is banned, but Farman has played a good couple of games and played against Saints before. If Field does have to move to 6 to come for Bevan French's injury, we've got Eckersley who played full-back against Saints at home and had a man-of-the-match performance against them. So we've got people to fill those positions who are still...
James Bell is going to replace Knowles, but he's their impact off the bench.
They've got the young full-back who I do rate. Is it Richardson or...
Robertson.
Robertson, sorry.
I rate him.
I rate, but I'm going to be interested to see who comes in at half 6 and 7 for them with Wellesby, Lomax and Dodd out.
Well, you would suspect Mbai stays in one of them.
Really not got to 9. Or will they use
I think
that
that
Travis
Jake Burns.
Travis Burns. That's a blast from the past. Travis Burns, remember him? He did play for Saints, didn't he?
I'll tell you what, we were speaking about. That's funny you mentioned his name because we were talking about him the other day.
He was alright, grew up, wasn't he?
Do you remember the other halfback that they had at the same time?
Saints.
Luke Walsh.
Yeah, it was.
That was a blast from the past. We were chatting about
Two
the other
baldies.
day. Yeah.
Anyway,
but I think Empire's going to have to stay in the halves, and I think Davis is going to go in there with him.
Yeah.
Or they play the young lad. Is it Roberts, who's apparently in the academy? They rate him, but he's not even played a game yet.
Give him a debut at Magic against Wigan.
Might have to. And then Jake Burns is going to have to play 9 by himself. But I would suspect
should be a good battle in the forwards.
It's going to have to be.
Well, I don't think either team are.
Percival out for Saints.
Percival's that's a back. You suspect Hurrell.
No, Hurrell's out for the season.
Hurrell's out for the season.
Davis can't play in the centres because he's probably going to have to play in the halves.
Wow, they have got a good couple out, haven't they? Move a Whitley out the centre.
Yeah.
Play back to know he's back and
Siren.
he's got Maternity or Siren.
Siren and Metality might have to play down the middle.
So that's going to be an interesting one. Yeah, we'll see what's interesting team sheets then, that one. But yeah, no, I still think it's a derby. Whether you've got injuries, whether you've got bans, or whatever, if you put who you put out, it's going to be a fiery game. It's magic. It's a derby. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be good.
Big time. Warrington Leeds. I'm going to go Warrington. Although I can see Leeds putting in a really good performance. And that'll be what Brad Arthur says, that you can't have a good performance and beat Wigan and then not turn up the next game. So I think this is going to be really close.
I'm being boring here. I'm agreeing with you for everything. But I agree. I think Warrington are going to be too strong for Leeds. I don't think that there's necessarily... I know Leeds are pushing for the top 6, but I don't think this is like a... If they lose, they lost the top 6. So I think this is a game they will lose, but I don't think it's going to be a massive dent in their top 6 spots.
No, not at all.
I think they're okay to lose this one.
Next up is Leigh vs Salford. This is a proper rivalry nowadays.
It is. It's always good games, haven't they, Leigh and Salford? You've got a bit of a tasty little battle going on.
And I think Salford are going to be suffering. I think they're struggling at the moment, and I can see a Leigh win.
I thought this one was going to differ because Leigh being underdogs for this game. I was going to choose Leigh, and you've picked him as well.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going Leopards.
I think Leigh have got a bit too much momentum.
I think Leigh are getting better with the bodies coming back. They had a bit of an off game against us. I know Moran was
they were missing a Moran as well.
And they were missing a Moran. Obviously, Eyecatchers has come back. Lamb's playing well. Pape's playing well.
O'Brien should be back.
O'Brien could be back for them. So I think now they're getting the bodies back and they're getting into the fluid motion again. I think we're going to start seeing them getting... They're going to push for a big end to the season. So yeah, I'm going to go Leigh. And I don't know how much of this Salford momentum can keep going with the squad they've got.
I think it's
something, but they keep doing it, and I'm just thinking at some point it's got to catch up to the performances have got to start to dip. I'm hoping they keep proving me wrong and they keep going well because I want to see a competitive Salford. But
the thing I look at is
I'm thinking they've got to dip.
If you look at the last 5, they got beat by 20 to Catalan. They lost by 8 to Huddersfield. They won by 8, won by 6, lost by 1. There's a lot of close games in there, and they take a lot out of you. And I think there's just a blowout coming at some point that will just be a big reset for them.
Yeah.
I might be wrong in that, but that's where my thinking is.
Yeah.
Catalans, Hull, KR. I can only see a KR win. Catalan were a close one at the weekend against a not great Huddersfield side. And Hull KR had a good win against Cass, staying relatively fresh.
I'm looking forward to this one.
I am.
Because I want to see what KR can do against a good team in a neutral venue. They're going away from Craven Park, which you know is a bit of a fortress to go to. They're playing Catalans, who we know obviously can
play.
I think it's interesting as well because both teams probably do rely on the home, don't they? Catalans in the south of France and OK.
Both teams need to win it neutral ground.
So actually, taking these two who normally have such strong home form and putting them in a neutral venue, not even necessarily playing away, but just a neutral venue, it's going to be interesting. I'm going to, again, sorry, I keep agreeing with you. KR again. I think
we're either going to look really good here or really stupid. If these all come in, we're going to look like we know
what
we're on about.
Matty's going to pick out other ones who've got a bit of doubt. I am going to be interested in what the listeners go for this week. I think some listeners, I think the majority will go Wire, but I think some could go for Leeds.
Yeah.
I think some might back London against FC. I'm also going to back Wigan against Saints, obviously. I think we've picked the underdog in Leigh. I think the majority of listeners will back Salford, so there could be a bit of...
Well, we've got one more game to do. Huddersfield, Castleford.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go Castleford.
Yeah.
I don't know what in me is saying Castleford. I don't have a reason for saying that. I don't think these two are really great sides. I just think Castleford are a little bit more settled. They've still got an interim Huddersfield, and that's the only reason I'm going Cass.
I think Huddersfield's got a better squad on paper. Cass play better as a team. They've got a bit of attacking flair, can put some nice shape on. Huddersfield though did go close last game. They lost it by a point to Catalan, didn't they? Oh, Huddersfield, they're different.
Ooh, I like it. Trust the process.
Well, you know, my team, I always back and they always let me down and I keep backing them, but I just want to be different. I don't want to keep going with the same. We've got to have one different, haven't we? So I'll back my trusty old Huddersfield, even though they're not trusty because they always let me down. But we'll go with it.
Right. That wraps up the predictions. Thank you for coming on, Lewis.
No, it's
been
been
a-
a pleasure. It's been a weird one. It's only me who's always missing because I'm always naughty. It's been weird, just me and you and Matty missing.
Yeah. So it's
All
a
three of
change.
us back next week.
Yeah, it'll be nice to review Post Magic.
Yeah, Magic.
I think
right?
Magic has
Do the
a
Magic
chance to be
together.
a really good. I think there's a lot of good games on this week.
Yes, they've done it well, but it's going to be come back out. There's none I don't think are going to be. I mean, we might get some, but I don't think any are going to be blowouts. Hull FC and London will be close. I think Leeds and Way will be close. Wigan Saints will be close. I can see Huddersfield and Cass being close.
Yeah, big
Hull
time.
KR might blow away Catalan, depending on which Catalan turns up.
Definitely. Right, that wraps it up, and we'll be back next week. Thank you for listening.